every time you see the doctor. Now, at some point, the IME doctor may give you a restricted duty on the form. That doesn't necessarily mean full work, but it does mean you have to come and check the depot and see if they have work for you. All right? Failure to do that can result in AWOL. All right? So the reason why I'm telling you this, because it's happened enough times. I just want you to be aware. The other part is if you get a full work from the IME, even if your doctor has not yet cleared you for work, you still have to come to the depot, because you might need to get a G46 and go down to the MAC Center to give urine, right? Meanwhile, you will be able to appeal the full work decision and still be out on comp while that appeal is going on. But the process is you have to come to the depot and see your SEM manager, which is your safety environmental manager. What's her name now? Celia. Her name is Celia here. She's the one that took over for Patrick Tate. Now, secondly, Richie talked about bus steps, so I was going to talk about that. He talked about that already. He also spoke about good record keeping, but I'm going to tell you, I want to add to that a little bit, because one of the things we do when we do hearings, like you go through your process. A lot of you guys never make it to the arbitration process. But once you get to arbitration with me, we do a lot of informational requests. We want information. We want a lot of stuff, right? So the part about trip sheets and marking everything down is very important, especially when it comes to the part of arbitration, because a lot of people seem to leave that part blank. Simply, sometimes when something's happening out there on the road, you don't want to really be bothered, so you don't say nothing. Just leave it alone. If management asks you about it, you say no knowledge. But if a customer's adamant, the transit authority is going to more than likely side with the customer after they've done their initial investigation just by calling. So it's important that you write something on the trip sheet, even if at a step one hearing they push it on to step two and they don't see it your way. The reason being, because once we're in arbitration, we have the information from the operator that we can fight based on whatever the policy is. You write down what maybe the policy is, and I'll give you an example, such as you left the bus stop and you're sitting at the red light, and they oftentimes like to say you refuse to let a customer on board. That's the time for you to write that down on the trip sheet. This is what happened this day. Customer came to the bus, even if it's no argument, because sometimes it's not even an argument. Next thing you know, you got a customer complaint. Just write it on your trip sheet. I was at the red light, customer attempted to knock on the door. I didn't open the door because I was at the bus stop. Simple as that. Simple as that. All right? Moving on, I want to talk about medical revisits. A lot of us do go for medical revisits. High blood pressure, whatever. Diabetes, whatever you may have. It's important that you see the crew dispatcher before you start your day to know if they're going to pull you off your run to go right to the MAC Center or to send you down on your first half. Then go to the MAC Center. Because we've had it where people know that they got to go to a revisit. What happens? They go right to the MAC Center, then they're AWOL from the crew. And that could be problematic because that AWOL ain't disappearing. All right? Even though subconsciously we know what probably happened to you. But with this company, you got to cover yourself. CYA, cover your ass at all times. The big thing that's going on now is the E1 and E2 policy. This is in your collective bargaining agreement, and it's in your bulletin boards. The policy is a policy instruction on drugs and alcohol. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because there's certain things that happen with the drugs and alcohol policy. Now, if you get a first-time positive, right, you're entitled to go to the Union Assistance Program. Depending on how you got banged, you might have to go in the Employee Assistance Program. Now, if you test positive and you're involved in an accident, same process. At that point, you go into EAP, right? But if you are a positive inside of an accident with injuries, very important, with injuries, you are dismissed from service. The arbitrator will fire you too. All right? That's the policy. So I just want to make everybody aware that obviously it's something that's going on where we're trying to negotiate for people's jobs. So I believe in the formula of knowing is half the battle. All right? Some people may know the policy, but they don't realize the part that if you have an accident with the injuries, that's an automatic dismissal. All right? So I just want everybody to be aware of that. Now here's the other big one. This is the last one for me, and that's chronic absenteeism. At some point, everybody can get a chronic absenteeism charge. Now the chronic absenteeism, for them to charge you with chronic absenteeism, they gotta first send a letter to your house, right? Then you have 21 days to bring verifiable documentation that you are in fact have a chronic condition and is FMLA qualified. All right. So what happens with chronic absenteeism? You get a chronic absenteeism charge. This is the time when you go to your doctor. Let's just say I use the sciatic nerve as an example. Sometimes you may wake up with a backache, you can't move, whatever the case may be, and this may happen to you often enough times, and you're calling out sick for that reason. Then you bring back doctor's line saying you're back, right? And then come to find out later on it was a sciatic nerve or something to that degree. So then how do you handle the chronic absenteeism from there? When they mail it to you from 2 Broadway, you have 21 days to send something back. What the union will represent to you is that sometimes you need more time to get appointments. Take the time that you need to make the appointments, but get the documentation. So the documentation will be on a doctor's letterhead, right? That's the only time where a doctor's letterhead will be accepted over the sick form. You're going to get a doctor's letterhead, and basically you're going to give a simple narrative of what your symptoms are and what led up to your chronic condition. And it will also say it's FMLA qualified. All right? Now, for all chronic conditions, I will tell you in advance, if you know about it now, get FMLA, it protects you from the chronic absenteeism charge, period, point blank. But if you don't have the hours to qualify for FMLA, then at that point in time, you follow the instructions that I gave you on chronic absenteeism to get your quality documentation. And what you'll do is you send it back to 2 Broadway. You don't bring it here to the depot for them to send it out. May not make it. All right? What you do is what you receive in the mail, you send back in the mail the 2 Broadway and the room number. More than likely, you won't hear about it again. That's our contract. And the reason why I'm bringing it up here today, that was negotiated in 2002, and we still have problems. People don't know how to send back the documents. They just say, well, you know what? I documented this absence already. This is not the same type of documentation you need. Usually they charge you chronic after your 11th instance and maybe your 15th day off of work in a running year. So I just need everybody to be mindful. And as we always tell you, we're going to come around and we're going to give education. And I love to give contract education when I can, especially to help people. That's what it's all about, helping people, keeping people on the straight and narrow. Because this company likes to discipline first, and we always have to, sometimes, and many of you may be aware of it, sometimes it's a difficult issue to fight something with the transit authority because we can't afford maybe to lose any type of monetary benefits until we win the case. And this is why let's do things right now up front, know what the policies are, and this way we can stay ahead of the game. And that's really all I got for you. Oh, let me mention Richie did mention something about operations planning. Now, I had operations planning last week, which is going to discuss when you're picking the what they're doing with the L train shuttle. All I can tell you right now is that we haven't received the pick yet. The pick is going to go out on Friday. We have 20 days to review that pick. So if there's any problem, barring any problems, we'll have a pick meeting and then we'll discuss a date that we're picking. What we do know in advance is the pick will go into effect on April 28th. All right, that's the effective date. We just don't have the dates that we're picking yet. All right, they're playing really soft with this because everybody is worried about what's going on with the L train and the governor and the MTA. Because sometimes the governor does things outside the MTA and then tells the MTA what we're going to do. Now the MTA may have a plan because they got to comply with some of our contractual language, and sometimes it just collides with each other. Now, that's all I can give you on the operations planning meeting, simply because I haven't discussed it with my chairman yet. I have a chairman's meeting on March 6th, where I will update them on everything that's going on with operations planning. Then at some point, the chairman will come back and give a ShopGate to let you know what's going on. All right? And with that, I close, but I offer any you to have any questions for me, feel free to ask right now.